Labour councillors quit in protest, accusing Keir Starmer of betraying core party values. A wave of resignations among Labour councillors has sent shockwaves through the UK political landscape, as discontent with party leader Keir Starmer reaches boiling point. The councillors who have stepped down allege that Starmer has fundamentally shifted the Labour Party away from its traditional values, leaving it unrecognisable to its historical supporters. This revolt raises serious questions about the direction of the party and its ability to unite ahead of the next general election. The growing rift in Labour, the dissatisfaction among councillors appears to be symptomatic of a broader ideological struggle within the Labour Party. For decades, Labour has prided itself on being the party of the working class, advocating for social justice, wealth redistribution, and robust public services. However, Starmer's tenure has been marked by a clear pivot toward the political centre, alienating many members who see this shift as a betrayal of the party's founding principles. Councillors who have resigned describe a growing sense of disillusionment with Starmer's leadership, accusing him of neglecting grassroots voices and prioritising electoral pragmatism over ideological consistency. This sentiment is not new, but has been building since Starmer succeeded Jeremy Corbyn as leader in 2020. Corbyn's leadership, while polarising, was defined by a bold progressive agenda that galvanised young voters and grassroots activists. In contrast, Starmer has adopted a more cautious approach, seeking to distance the party from Corbyn-era policies perceived as too radical by centrist voters. Key grievances from councillors. The councillors who have quit the party have outlined several key reasons for their decision: abandonment of core Labour values. Many believe that the Labour Party under Starmer no longer stands for the principles that once defined it. Solidarity with workers, public ownership. The recent policy announcements from the Labour leadership have been criticised as lacking ambition, with some accusing Starmer of pandering to conservative voters rather than championing transformative change. Centralisation of power. Councillors have expressed frustration over what they perceive as a top-down approach to decision-making under Starmer's leadership. Local branches and representatives feel sidelined, with little influence over the party's direction. This centralisation has led to accusations that Starmer's leadership style is authoritarian and dismissive of grassroots democracy. Lack of policy vision. Critics argue that Labour's current platform lacks the boldness required to address the pressing challenges facing the UK, including rising inequality, the cost of living crisis, climate change, and a struggling healthcare system. Starmer's reluctance to commit to policies such as public ownership of utilities or increased wealth taxes has disheartened many on the party's left. Alienation of grassroots members. The councillors' resignations are part of a broader trend of dissatisfaction among the party's grassroots membership. Starmer's leadership has seen a significant decline in party membership, with many feeling that their voices are no longer heard or valued. This alienation risks undermining Labour's ability to mobilise its traditional support base. Handling of internal disputes. Starmer has also faced criticism for his handling of internal party disputes, including the treatment of left-wing members and former allies of Jeremy Corbyn. The suspension of Corbyn himself and the perceived targeting of leftist factions have created an atmosphere of division and resentment within the party. Potential consequences for Labour. The resignations of local councillors, while not necessarily catastrophic on their own, highlight a deeper malaise within the Labour Party. This internal discord could have significant consequences for Labour's prospects at the next general election, expected in 2025. Impact on local governance. The loss of experienced councillors weakens Labour's ability to deliver effective governance at the local level. This could damage the party's reputation in key areas where it has traditionally relied on strong local leadership to maintain voter loyalty. Challenges in traditional strongholds. Labour's shift toward the centre may alienate voters in its traditional strongholds, particularly in the north of England and Wales, where working-class communities have historically supported the party. The rise of alternative parties, such as the Greens or left-wing independents, could further erode Labour's base in these regions. Perception of division. The public perception of a divided party could undermine Labour's credibility as a viable alternative to the Conservative government. Voters are often wary of parties that appear to be embroiled in internal conflict, especially when the stakes are high in a general election. Tensions with the left. The ongoing alienation of the party's left-wing factions could lead to further resignations or even the formation of a new political movement. Such a split would weaken Labour's ability to present a united front and could siphon off crucial votes. Starmer's leadership at a crossroads. Keir Starmer now faces a critical juncture in his leadership. While his pivot toward the centre has been designed to make Labour more electable, it risks alienating the very people who form the backbone of the party. To address this growing discontent, Starmer will need to strike a delicate balance between appealing to centrist voters and reassuring the party's traditional supporters that their values have not been abandoned. Some have argued that Starmer's strategy is a pragmatic response to the realities of modern British politics. Sir Keir Starmer has been blamed for a decision by 20 councillors to quit the party, saying Labour have abandoned traditional values under his leadership. The extraordinary decision by the group of Broxtowe Labour councillors in Nottinghamshire has seen a group with a combined membership of 250 years walk out on Sir Keir's watch. After forming their own Broxtowe Independence Party, the enraged councillors posted a statement on X saying enough was enough and cited reasons for the exodus, including cutting the winter fuel allowance, the betrayal of WASPy women pensioners, and the government's response to genocide in Gaza. The damning statement continued, "This is not the Labour Party we campaigned for. Nor is it the Labour Party that Sir Keir Starmer promised. The public were told to vote for change and all they got was more of the same, attacking the most vulnerable, to protect the interests of the rich and powerful." Nottinghamshire Live reports the shock announcement was made by long-standing council leader Milan Rajelovic and means that Labour is no longer the party of either administration or opposition at Nottinghamshire County Council. Councillor Rajelovic, who has led Broxtowe Borough Council on a Labour platform for over 20 years across several administrations, has jumped ship along with 19 of his fellow Labour councillors. It means Labour no longer runs Broxtowe Borough Council, having only regained the authority from a state of no overall control at the May 2023 local elections. The news comes as it was revealed nationally since winning the election in July. Labour has lost 33 council seats in by-elections across England, Scotland and Wales, and gained only 6. Councillor Rajelovic said he and his colleagues had not been elected to blindly follow government policy. He told the BBC, "I cannot support and will not support another centrist government intent on destroying local democracy and dictating national policy from a high pedestal. I believe the concentration of power in the hands of fewer people and the abolition of local democracy through the current proposals of super councils is nothing short of a dictatorship, where local elected members, local people, local residents will have no say over the type and level of service provided in their area." Broxtowe Labour councillors said, "It is incredibly disappointing that some Broxtowe councillors have decided to leave the Labour Party and sit as independents when they were elected on a Labour ticket just over 18 months ago. These defections have no effect on the commitment of the remaining Labour councillors in serving our residents. We, together with our Labour colleagues including MPs Juliet Campbell and Alex Norris, will continue to work to make Broxtowe a healthier, greener, safer and more prosperous place for everyone as change begins under this Labour government."